dodgy world, a dodgy world.
Kid.
PNP wicked for true, man. But never say that people wicked so yet. And it start from Parliament because I've never heard them tell Andrew Jones one man and say, boy, you do good. The opposition, me know so the job is to if it go against. But if the man are the right, give him in credit, man. We want to stop fight for power and just do what is fair for the Jamaican people. The Parliament is divided into two. It doesn't necessarily mean say you have to object against everything that the government is doing. It means if you say the government are the right, congratulate him.
The Integrity Commission in its conclusion, right, by way of the DI, so there is nothing for the Prime Minister to be charged about. Why are they still not certifying the boss?
Exactly.
And that's the only reason man I tell them a quote. Not for change no law. Come. No for change no law. Nothing else. Yeah man, no problem.
No, sir.
There was a banging coming from the boy.
They investigate one man for so much area. But you don't know how he spending money. What kind of question that? As so much area investigate the man for in a online business. And when you come to your conclusion is you can't charge him. Certify him then. You can't certify him, make you go court.
Mr. Things, look, you know, let me show you something. You see, the director of investigation, he have the right to subpoena any document we want, as long as it showing I'm in an investigation for the conclusion, right?
Yeah.
If the Prime Minister refuse to share expenditure, and if it's required for the course of the investigation, you know, saying can't charge the Prime Minister for that.
Of course.
And he didn't charge the Prime Minister for that. So that shows him a go all-time remit. And that's what the Prime Minister take them to court for say, what is your remit and why you not certify the thing? You understand? If you read the court documents, and that it said. So this idea where I say, oh, the Prime Minister now give up him. By the way, the Prime Minister said he did comply with them. He did give that to them already.
And I believe
so. So I don't now share him outgoings and incomings. No, he did. He say he did. So he did. Here's the thing now. If it was pertinent to the investigation, he could bring it to the prosecutor for prosecute to say, yeah, withhold documents. You understand what I say? So that argument that way I talk about no whole water. And lucky send me read, so them can't twist me up.
Hold on there, my friend. So Dujon, how much time you have left on the program?
Half an hour. Dujon, they home today, it depends how long you want to run.
Okay, so alright. Lexi.
Yes.
Do me a favor. Go on YouTube and type in Emily's views on the IC report. Alright? I want people to be patient and listen to it. Please. And you're going to see why the Prime Minister took the IC to court. Because Emily, as I've said before, is a learned individual who has been practicing law for several decades. And she would have pinpointed so many things. And the Prime Minister's lawyer could have pinpointed 60 plus reasons why to take them to court. Meanwhile, the PNP saw no reason at all. None whatsoever. And as one person said, they asked for information, the Prime Minister gave information, then they are asking for the same information. I guess them go last it. They even some documents that the Prime Minister would have given them, though whole heap of information missing out of the report. Emily even said that you read page 1 and to conclude what is on page 1 you have to go on page 30. Leave from page 30, go to page 20, and from you get the drift. That's how confusing they make it. So if a learned individual is confused about a report,
can it make sense?
Exactly.
It can show up the whole of them to nonsense real bad.
I'm not going to lie. Even if I was a PNP, even if I was a PNP, based on how this Prime Minister is working, I would have withheld my vote. These people are just biased, die-hearted, and deserve to die. That is the truth.
Yeah, when you're ready.
Me I cut nothing ready?
Yeah, man.
Go on through now, ready.
Alright.
The truth becomes a casualty.
Many people are not interested in the niceties of refinement. Many people are not interested in drilling down and properly understanding some of what is put before us. And in this space, it becomes almost dangerous for our total existence. It's as if we are in an existential crisis of sorts. We have in front of us a massive report from the Integrity Commission of Jamaica. And I must tell you that there are a lot of things in this report that give me an awful lot to be concerned about. Apart from the question that I will pose, which I must, having read substantial portions of the report, I think there are portions of it about which the leader of the country, the Prime Minister, should be extremely concerned. I think he needs to be concerned because, in my mind, Prime Ministers must be seen to be above reproach. We do desire them to be near unblemished as possible. And hopefully, if they are to be blemished, they must be blemished by facts. Near irrefutable facts. But in this particular century where facts are almost subjective, which is quite sad, a lot of people will suffer serious reputational harm and perhaps cannot recover politically. It is clear that, an individual with their reputation can survive this country, but I honestly don't know how it will go. But specifically to the report of the Integrity Commission, the things that concern me relate firstly to credibility and perhaps trust issues that may arise concerning the Prime Minister as a result of some of what is contained in the Integrity Commission report. But crucially, I think there are so many gaps, so many unexplained gaps in this particular report from my reading, that I do desire a lot more from the Commission. One of the first points, which is not, and I'm not going to rank them in terms of major or minor, I've heard the National Integrity Action raise concerns about whether the Prime Minister spoke to us truthfully when he did, when he said that he'd searched far and wide and couldn't find information on anyone within his party who was being investigated by the Integrity Commission. But yet still, we have from the Integrity Commission a chronology of events, and we see where the Prime Minister was notified about an investigation. Having read the report, I note that there were, from 2022, there was one investigation commenced, and that investigation was not to do with illicit enrichment. That investigation started on September 30, 2022, and the investigation arose, we're told, from concerns about the Prime Minister's statutory declarations. We're told by the Commission, the Director of Investigation, that the Prime Minister was notified on the 10th of January 2023, and he was served a notice to attend an interview. On the 12th of January 2023, the Prime Minister was interviewed without an attorney. based on all the information supplied, we understand from this report that investigation closed in February of 2023. So that first investigation, it appears, took 5 months. A final investigation report, we understand, was submitted to the commissioners. But the Director of Investigation tells us that that report, which it submitted to the commissioners, was not tabled in Parliament. And I would love to understand, where is this report, and why wasn't that report, which ended on the 19th of February 2023, not tabled in Parliament? Then it appears from my reading that something happened between the 19th of February, when that first investigation concerning the statutory declarations ended, and the 2nd of May 2023. We do not know what happened between that period, but what we know is that a second investigation commenced on the 3rd of May 2023, when a referral was received from the commissioners pursuant to section 45 of the Corruption Prevention Act. That's what the DI tells us. When I say DI, I speak of the Director of Investigation. That particular section is the section that deals with illicit enrichment. But remember, all we're told here is that the matter was referred by the commissioners to the Director of Investigation. And additionally, the investigation was pursuant to not only the illicit enrichment provision, but a section 43(2) Integrity Commission Act. And that section deals with knowingly making a false statement in a declaration or knowingly giving a false information at an inquiry hearing conducted by the Director of Investigation. So, the question is, how and on what basis? What happened in May 2023 that caused the commissioners to refer the Prime Minister to the Director of Investigation for investigation into illicit enrichment? And this is very important. The Integrity Commission tells us that it notified the Prime Minister by a letter from the Director of Investigation on the 5th of May 2023 about this investigation. It does not provide us with a copy of this letter. And the copy of the letter is important because we have credibility issues now with the Prime Minister, and we need to know exactly what he knew and when. And the only way we can decide exactly why he answered in the way he did is if we are presented with the letter sent from the Director of Investigation or whomsoever it went to from the Integrity Commission. We are also told that the Prime Minister was updated by a letter dated the 26th of May 2023. What? Why is it that we have not seen a copy of that letter either? This is what the appendix is supposed to be for. Then we are also told on the 23rd of June 2023 that there was a letter from the Prime Minister's attorneys which was received by the Director of Investigation. What was this letter about? In fact, when I hear of a letter from attorneys for any individual coming in, I think this individual must be taking issue with a particular procedure. That's what I thought instantly upon seeing that the attorney entered the dialogue. And And I find support for this position later down in the report at about page 135, where I note that the Prime Minister said objections were raised by his attorneys, but we don't know the subject of the objection. From what the Prime Minister is quoted as saying, it appears to me that when they requested specific expenses of the Prime Minister, I deduce from the objection as quoted that the Prime Minister was saying, I complied with your request by submitting information in the schedule, which is a part of the Integrity Commission Act. And my attorneys have advised me that this is the form I'm supposed to use and perhaps no other. And I pause on this because I wonder if an attorney takes a particular course on behalf of a client and raises an objection before anybody, including the Integrity Commission, is it right for that particular body to later say that the information they sought from me, I have not complied with their request, when the reason for my compliance is on the basis of an objection taken by my attorneys? Yeah? And the only way we can know for sure exactly what the Prime Minister was talking about when he's quoted by the Director of Investigation about an objection by the attorney is if the Integrity Commission releases the letter from the attorney dated, they say, the 23rd of June 2023. But I come to a particular date which I understand to have been the 17th of August 2023, when the Prime Minister was asked about, well, he knows who are the people who are being investigated for illicit enrichment by the Integrity Commission. And based on the excerpt we heard, he said he asked far and wide, and he doesn't know, couldn't find anybody who's been investigated. Based on the chronology of events as set out by the Integrity Commission's Director of Investigation, it appears that by that time, the Prime Minister knew, and in fact the Prime Minister had been summoned to an interview with the Director of Investigation. I will solidify my thoughts on this particular issue when the Integrity Commission releases all the letters that pass between itself and the Prime Minister. And when I say all of the letters, I mean letters from whether it's the Director of Information and Complaints, or the Director of Investigation, or the Commissioners, or any individual. Those documents should be released. But on to the big matter, which is the matter of illicit enrichment. It seems to me that the Commission, having embarked on an investigation led by the Director of Investigation, it concluded that when the Prime Minister's assets, liabilities, income, and so forth were calculated, they could not find enough to establish that the Prime Minister illicitly enriched himself. In fact, they've given us a near treatise on illicit enrichment. They spent about 14 paragraphs of the report dealing with illicit enrichment, taking us to Hong Kong, to the UK, and so forth, and telling us that these are the things that need to be established for this particular crime to be made out. They tell us that it's it's something that is calculated based on mathematical precision. So the investigator needs to first examine what is the quantum by which this person is alleged to have illicitly enriched himself. And if you cannot find the quantum, establish it. You don't even begin to make out this alleged crime. The Integrity Commission is empowered statutorily to cooperate with other entities in whatever investigations it's undertaking. So from the get-go, within the context of this law, it signed an MOU with the Financial Investigation Division. The Financial Investigation Division is considered a competent authority by the Integrity Commission Act. They are supposed to work together on matters they deem relevant, so too the Tax Administration Jamaica. So I don't expect a cop-out at the end of any investigation by the Integrity Commission, where it concludes its investigations and then tells us it wishes now to refer the matter to the FID or to the TAJ, not when it can, within the course of the investigation, cooperate with those entities, and those entities are sworn to secrecy. I've got to go to a break. The Commission is empowered to cooperate with other bodies. Section 7 of the Integrity Commission Act lays out in full how the cooperation is to go. The Integrity Commission wants to cooperate with, or the body must cooperate. In fact, the Integrity Commission can get an order to force the body to comply. When I'm talking about the body, that section goes on to list and to define some entities called competent authorities, to include the Financial Investigation Division and Tax Administration Division. So, if and when there is the need to call in any of these bodies, the Commission shall disclose competent authority information or document necessary to assist the authority in investigation and the prosecution, and that authority has to keep that information confidential. So when we're dealing with illicit enrichment investigation, no. And we have a lot of teachings, as I mentioned, from the Integrity Commission. 14 paragraph treaties, old underline they give us. And then they tell us that when they apply to the Prime Minister's investigation, they say applying the source and application of analysis methodology. The Director of the Investigation inquired into Mr. Honus's assets as declared for 2018 to 2022, with particular emphasis on 20 to 22.
Lexi, pause.
Was unable to arrive at a final.
You notice everybody bail off our life and gone. Jamaican people not taking information, brother. And this is why them are telling us the Prime Minister thief things, because look, see lady I explain and I tell us say the Prime Minister not do nothing illegal, like everybody I run away.
Yes.
You see it? Jamaican people not taking information, bro. Go ahead, Lexi.
Start back the clip.
Yeah, man, just running back far away there, yeah.
Final conclusion in respect of illicit enrichment, by virtue of the fact that he was not provided with a schedule of collective personal expenses over the relevant period, as well as the unresolved questions around the operations of the connected companies. I find this to be an insulting conclusion for the people of Jamaica. Insulting because this is the very thing. You shouldn't come and tell us now, after a year and a behalf of investigating the Prime Minister for illicit enrichment when you are by law to cooperate with entities who can assist on top of that? You tell us in your report that the Prime Minister's attorneys took objection, and they seem to have taken objection to the Prime Minister providing a schedule of expenses. And if counsel took objection on a point of law, how can you say that the individual being investigated has refused from providing you with the information? What is the legal bona fides of counsel's objection? And that's what you tell us in the report. I'm going to give you the page very soon. I think it's about page 135. You will see when the Prime Minister said, I have complied, and my attorney took objection, and I stand on that objection. But I go back to my initial point. You cannot give us this 170-odd page document and some crucial letters passing between you, the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's lawyer, and so forth. You haven't given that to us, right? Anyway, when I look at all of what they have provided, they couldn't conclude that the Prime Minister unlawfully enriched himself. And they look at his personal dealings. So what did they do? They lifted the veil of the Prime Minister's companies. And this matter of lifting the veil is such an interesting legal point. There have been cases decided on it, which are available for a lot of people to read. But the DI tells us that in order to lift the veil, he did so because the Prime Minister said one particular company is used as a holding company for his assets, and he believes he's justified in lifting the veil on that. I'm not so sure about that particular conclusion, because there's a section that they quote about lifting the veil where it needs to be proven or asserting that there's fraud or some wrongdoing that will allow them to do that. But at any rate, they lifted the veil of the companies, and they looped the companies in one node with the Prime Minister. So whatever separate legal personalities companies have in law, they set that aside because they believe under this circumstance there may be it may be merited for the veil to be lifted. But when they lifted the veils of the company and did the calculation, it seems to me that the quantum that they came to, that the Prime Minister seemed to have illicitly enriched himself with for 2022 is approximately 1.9 million Jamaican dollars. In fact, when they commingled company money along with the Prime Minister's personal funds, there was no illicit enrichment, or none could be claimed for 2021. And I need further clarity on that, because a lot of figures are put in the particular report, but when you look at the substantive one, which comes I think page 164 or so of the report, you will see that when the company's assets and so forth are added in with the Prime Minister's, we are talking of a figure of 1.93 million that is considered unexplained growth. And even if they are of the view that the Prime Minister benefited in one instance where a charity, for example, money from the charity was invested in a bond and which he eventually got because the money was transferred to his personal account. I don't know that that could change the unexplained growth quantum that they have cited in their report. So the bottom line for me right now is that this is the entity that is supposed to investigate. Bottom line for me right now is that this is the entity that is supposed to investigate me, that at the end of your investigation, you are telling us you have not found enough to conclude that he has unlawfully enriched himself because you have not engaged the people that you can engage by statute to assist with the investigation. And even having engaged somebody else to do accounting, that individual formed the view that there was nothing untoward in what they have investigated about the Prime Minister. And again, that crucial report from that individual, why is it not shared with the people of Jamaica? Those documents have to be shared. Integrity Commission, you cannot show us, you cannot tell us rather, you need to show us how and why you have come to the conclusions that you have by putting all cards on the table. I don't believe that you have. I actually think that the Financial Investigation Division can pick up and do whatever it wants to now. I don't even know that it needs a referral, particularly from the FID, from the Director of Investigation or anybody. I think anybody can refer the matter to the Financial Investigation Division, but it shouldn't come down to this. You should have worked with the authority and provided us with the information that you are by statute supposed to provide. So what is the reason you have chosen this course? I don't know. But something is completely off with this. The Prime Minister has a lot of questions to answer. But I don't know that the questions should not have come over a year ago from the appropriate people who should have done the proper investigation. We keep going through because it's not an easy document to read. Yeah, could have been better organized and so forth, but we keep going through. But for right now, I can't seem to make up my mind on how to really accept this particular report because so much is absent from it. And I certainly would like those let us know documents to help me understand more of why things are the way they are.
Kasi that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That is it. So we're in the report. A $400 million they were but demure that talk about. The J flag died. We're $400 million there. I try figure out.
All we read the report and we see it part where them put on paper how much money is go away and how much money is spent. Nobody did see no 400 million in that.
No.
Okay. I was just indulging him, you know. We pick hole in an argument. I just want to make him know so the Prime Minister making money, but he make it offshore. He never make it up from Jamaican taxpayer either. See? And half I don't make him money and bring it onshore. Whole heap of people do it, whole heap of business people do it. You know? Them bring them things for offshore, go to Barbuda and Cayman and other tax havens in Ireland.
Well, here is something I'm going to pick out from this too, is that the Prime Minister would have given the information that the IC would have asked for.
But I said
and he used
classic.
the farm. He used the farm to do it, you know. And then now IC would have called him now and tell him, say, he need to give whatever information. But IC wants him to give it. IC wants him to give it in a one different for him farm.
Yeah, each time him ask him, he give them ask him for something else.
Mm-hmm. And it seems as if at this point them now want him to use the farm that the IC gives them to use. Him just want like put it on a piece of paper and send it and give it.
But
I send him one text.
Other than that, because them say the Prime Minister corrupt and him illicit. Okay, and all speculation with the Jamaican people, release the report that the forensic person investigated. See, because he came to do a deep dive, and if him do a deep dive, he would have must find something then. So release that document we see where them find. It's simple as that.
Also, all of them documents that was in between the Prime Minister and the IC. Make we see them documents I want to leave out of the report. Those are crucial too, because if it was in the favor of the IC and the PNP, it would have definitely in the report.
Dujon,
You're the boss.
morning. I can say something real quick for you media work, but I listen to you for morning.
Go ahead.
Look, first and foremost, I want to say big up Philippines. You see me? Because by the end of the day, bro, God, we have some PNP hate Andrew Wellness. Whether or not you try to tell them the truth or show them the right, they now go change. Because I sit down and hear them talk.
And them we are doing fine.
They hate him.
And them, let me show you something.
Me understand.
And them we are doing, but even the brother they will come on, he have 18.5 thousand K follower right now. 18.5 K follower. And he come with 50 or 80 people. We are follow behind him with the nonsense. So if we can pick hole in the nonsense, that's a benefit we as the people. Some people are going to decide it.
But if you realize, you not try to explain to him and they show him certain things. And why PNP them are run with, I hit him and run with, try to find out and realize what go on. You see me? Because at the same time, when you take a start now, we will like PNP them and say Andrew Wallace a thief. And I hit him and come with to see him.
Praneen said we look on the back of the report.
Exactly. So he pick out what he want.
I decide to kick him off by life. If I look on the back of the report,
I was suit him. He might run with. And here what I'm going to say again to like he might say, he disappointed in the Prime Minister for defend himself, If you are accused me of doing something, I may decide man say I go sue you because I spread propaganda for me. How you could have disappointed in that? Can't understand PNP, brother. Because only one way they think and I feed them we alone. Them according to them, 14 of them sit down now and look seat and them behave like them have the majority of the seat them. And they like them and say, PNP country do so we do whatever.
But then again, Marvin, what me and Dujon is trying to do for the people. Them understand that it is such every day in the get up and get people bash the Prime Minister. Yeah, it don't sit well with none of us. None of we don't sit well with. But what Dujon is trying to do and what I am trying to do, we have to list him out and find holes in his story. Remember, as a Dujon said, look how much followers him have. You know who come over here with him? You have to find all the weak spot them and make the people them know. Suppose the people them come over here with them undecided.
Let me ask you a question, panelists. How much time did Andrew Wallace walk out of Parliament? How much time?
One to my recollection.
From yesterday, me hear people are comment on my video and say, look how much time Labour right walk out of Parliament. Why did Andrew Wallace walk out of Parliament? Who can tell me?
Come out now, the manners, now the behavior.
Go ahead, Lexi.
Yeah, one time he walk out of Parliament, him now the manners not have no behavior. Him
walk out of Parliament.
He's just like the same PMP them. No matter how he must say something and you say no and I say go. Him stick on him point, him no want to listen.
Him walk out of Parliament because on a point of order, Mark Golding did act like say the PNP never also voted for Miss Holness to be Speaker of the House. Labour right alone could have put Miss Holness as Speaker of the House. Both parties had to vote for it. And both parties did vote for it. And this is why she's Speaker of the House. So when PNP come and go like say they know nothing about it and I know them do it. Them did that disrespect him and wife and the man walk out of Parliament because them had to have a hand in putting her where she was. This is the third time Mark Golding walk out of Parliament now. And the next time what they need to do, the day when they walk out of Parliament, they should be they don't forget pay for the day. Simple as that.
My class the man wife as she and her.
Which work you can go in and just get up and walk away without any consequences and go to the door, go do what you want to do. Which work?
Yeah.
I work, Mark Gold in a work, you know, we put him there so we go work, you know.
Yeah, this him disrespect him disrespect him disrespect the country, not film country kind of film country. Him disrespect the country by doing that.
The people them a vote for him to put him when there. And them in disrespect and turn him back. Then send him there so we go talk for them, you know. MP go to Parliament for go talk for years away, you know. See? So him go to Parliament to deal with the people's business. Mark Gold go on like say him a Prime Minister. That's how him a go on. Like him a dictate or anything where him say so he go. And he can't go no other way. And him run this a country, brother. And anytime he lose the election, we need him to leave the country. Like he go on him a go. And he come to be a divisive figure in our country, and he come to divide and conquer and divide and rule. And we not gonna have none of that in our country. You need to lift up